Okay, our interview today for Coconuts TV is with a long-time supporter of the club, as both, I guess, Abbey United and as Cambridge United, Malcolm Dunn. Malcolm, it's great to see you. Thank you very much for inviting us into your home today. Let's start off with some of your background and your earliest memories of the club, Malcolm. Where did you grow up? Tell us about your early
I grew up in Dittenfields, virtually across the road from the football ground, you know. Right on my doors, couldn't have been any closer.
So you grew up seeing the ground from your earliest days?
Yes, yeah. And sort of Saturday afternoons I used to get there, my poor old granddad, he'd give me footballs to go up, well he used to give me tanner as it was in those days, sixpence, to go up the ground. I'd have threepence to get in the ground, and then a threepence for a bottle of pop if I wanted it, you know, or wherever I was going, you know.
So there was a bit of a family connection there, was there, before you even started?
Yes, there was actually. An uncle of mine, when he retired from work, he used to clean the dressing rooms out up there. The little dressing rooms what were in those days on the cabin side of the ground, middle of the halfway line. There was 3 rooms, home side, referee and away side. And there are 2 doors either side with the referees at the back, and everybody all used to dive in this big communal bath at the end of the match. So whoever got in the bath first had the cleanest of water, you know, of it type of thing. So yeah, both teams and the referee and officials as well, all in this here same great big, I think it's a big bath, something like where we're sitting in here, that square, you know, and everybody had to jump in.
So how many years roughly would you say you've been supporting United?
Oh, 65 years at least. Yeah. Well, in 1948 I saw my first game, and I suppose probably then from 49 onwards was when I started going up there. I was getting a bit older and I was taking more interest, and I was going up there more than ever, you know. Then, especially through knowing some of the players that were local to me, because Russell Crane used to speak of. He only lived at the bottom of my garden. We lived in Dittenfields, and he lived in Ferndale Rise, which was a little cul-de-sac off of Ditton Walk, you know. And it was, and then several of the others, you know, so it was quite local. And there weren't much else to do on a Saturday in those days either. Nobody had cars, nobody had televisions.
So what age would you have been the first time you went to the Abbey?
5. I was 5 years old.
So you must have gone with someone at 5 years old, presumably?
Sorry?
You wouldn't have gone on your own at 5?
Well, yeah, I did. Somebody saw me across the road, because never had very big gates in those days, only playing. It was the Eastern Counties League sides, like Dalston, Yarmouth, Lowestoft, sides like that. Even Norwich City A, Spurs A, Arsenal A, you know, and all those A sides from the bigger clubs that were in those days. And I used to go home at the end of the match and I'd say to my granddad, well, when are we going to be on the radio, Granddad? They're a school chair with you know, not knowing the differences of the leagues, of course, you know. Or anything. And,
so what were your first impressions of the ground as a little boy? You suddenly you were on the ground.
Well, to me, as an old many a person, today, it's Wembley today to what it was in those days. I mean, 10 minutes rain at 10 to 3 in the afternoon, match off. That's how bad the ground would flood in them days. But it's amazing how times change, isn't it? You know, and now when they talk about wanting to develop a new ground somewhere else, this is the situation. Our attendances from Southern League, Southern League days or Football League days to what are not a lot different now. So, matter of fact, all this last season our gates were around, what, 2,500 maybe, which was less than the gates we were getting when we was in the Southern League. He was getting 3,500. So, why is the need for us to want bigger space and new ground? They've got a lot of spaces up there now. They've done a lot of good things up there, made it up well. I mean, so what is the need for, and Sunday annoyed me. They tell me our attendance Sunday was probably what, 12,500, 13,000 people.
Use.
Take note of what your first gate will be in August this year when you kick off then. I doubt you'll have 3.5.
Yeah. Going back to when you first went up there, was the habbing there and things like that, the habbing stand?
No.
What was actually there?
Because, say, the dressing rooms are along that side, and we all stood on railway sleepers. If you wanted a Jimmy Riddle, you just got round the back of the railway sleeper out of the way and kept the eye open for anybody else what was about, you know. Because that was the case to be. There was a little canteen, which, well, it's now bricked up there now, along by the sports club, of whereby when it got to nearly half time, they'd say to me, "Go on, Mel, nip up there and get the players' tea," because they'd make the players' tea in big urns like that, and there'd be about 4 urns for us to go up and collect, a couple in the home dressing room, 1 in the away dressing room, and 1 in the referee's room there then. And there's 3 women in that used to look after the canteen then. Mrs. Morgan, was Arthur Morgan's mother. Mrs. George, actually Frank George's wife, who Frank himself was a big fan of, he'd done a lot of work up there, etc. And who was the other lady? Oh my God, that'll come to me in a minute. There was a 3rd lady. But every time we scored, Mrs. Morgan had got a big fireman's bell up there, and clang, 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 clang. They'd say, "Go on, let's have another one, boys. Let's have another one, boys." They always called them boys, they did. Oh, Lily Harrison would be there as well with them, and we all knew the Lily Harrison, the work that she done and undertook for the club. It's amazing. People like her what helped the club to survive in those days to the eventual stage of what we are now, Yeah.
And then where the Newmarket Road stand is, what was there? Nothing again?
What, you mean?
Behind the goal?
No, nothing there again, only just a little brick wall. We used to sit on that brick wall, and then, because 1 or 2 little railings had helped for people to lean upon, but no terrace and anything like it was there now. And so I remember well sitting on that wall one afternoon, watching Cambs United reserves in those days, the first team were away, and Freddy Mansfield was playing for the reserve side, and he come belting down that ring, and Christ, he got shot on him, and he hit this air ball, I think, from 20 yards, and he just missed the goal, but who did he catch? He pulled it, hit me right across the smacker. I sat on that wall, and the next minute, boom, I dealt like a shot, and but we still got up now. They all come and pick me up, make sure I was all okay, whatever, and off we went again, it's just this little brick wall all the way along. Down at the bottom, where the newsstand now is, allotment ends, there'd be old Joe Rayner's pigs on the allotment, right in the corner there, and then again there'd just be a row of railway sleepers for people to stand along anywhere they like. And of course, 7 days there's no sort of segregation. What we used to do, we would stand behind our own goal up till half time. Half time whistle went, boom, then we went belting to the other end to get down the other end for the second half, to watch the goals go in there, And where the main stand now is today, there was just a little wooden stand there in the middle of the ground with a little T-bar at the side of it. And I don't know if they still have or not, but word tells me that stand, when we finally got rid of it, was taken up to Soham. And I'm not sure if it's at Rangers or the other Soham side. That's where that went to. And then again, of course, where the stand ended up to the end of the ground was again just a waste ground where you stood and watched until he went out of the ground, you know.
So Malcolm, you must have stood in all parts of the ground.
I have. There's not many places up there I've not stood in my time, you know, as a boy, because as a kid, and in them days, you know, before the match, we'd only got a little tennis ball, and we used to try and get on the pitch to play, not on the actual pitch, but we'd play between the ball and the touchline. All of a sudden, go on you boys, fuck off. You know, there'd be old Reg Parker, who in those days was, well, odd job man basically, but he was like the kit man, you know, he ran out with the magic sponge, as we always called it, when the players got injured, you know. Go on you boys, fuck off, you're off. You know?
So how did you find the general atmosphere in the 50s with the crowds?
The crowds, as I say, weren't great, but it was good. It was good for the people that were up there, you know. I don't think people in those days sort of worried about so much what the crowds were like, how big or small it is. They just used to stand there and have a good chat, I think. I think there's quite a few of them, they was obviously mates, and they used to make that their congregation for Saturday afternoon to stand and have a good natter. Whether it would be about the football or whatever else or not is another matter, you know. But it was always a good, happy atmosphere, you know.
Malcolm, you must remember some players from your earliest days, like in the 50s.
Before the Galley goes, Bill Connolly, I think his name's one. Yeah, and of course the fullbacks who I had were Bishop and Bob Bishop and Harry Bunnan. Your half-back line was Ray Ruffett, Johnny Percival and Bill Whittaker, who was player manager.
He was captain as well, I think, was he?
Yes, he was captain as well. But no, Ray Ruffett was captain also too. Then Bill Whittaker perhaps took it on through injury, you know, or any time. Then on the right wing you had Teddy Beld, or Len Hayward, was another one on the right wing. Len Crowe would be inside right. You'd have Albert George centre forward. Jack Thomas, number 10. And Sandy McPherson, number 11. Sandy McPherson, he was a man out of the RAF that came and played when he was, you know, off duty type of thing, when he had the time to, you know.
I'm going to ask you a very hard question now. The hard question is, who would be your favourite, say, 3 players from that sort of era?
Okay, Len Hayward, I think, Bob Bishop, and probably Albert George. Yeah.
Did you ever see, I mean, just to mention a couple of names, did you ever see Wilf Mannion play for?
Yeah, saw him many times. 1954, was it, or 56? Yeah, I thought it was between that time. He was a man, he'd been suspended from playing for his football club at Middlesbrough.
Why was that, do you know?
Because he wrote an article in the paper decrying some of the football regulations or something, and therefore the Football League banned him from playing league football again. He was probably one of England's finest inside forwards, even up to today's standards, you know. And so much so that when we had a player playing down in force named Brian Moore, you've probably heard of him, yeah, he got a class eye, and he played for West Ham, and he had to retire from there because of the loss of this eye. And again, he came and played for us. Anyway, that season, I think he scored about maybe 52 or 56 goals, mainly through the balls passed to him from Wilf Mannion.